Hello, welcome back to the White Pony Podcast. I'm Grace Clark and we are recording here from Riverside Radio Studios in Battersea Park, London, UK, Europe, the world, the Milky Way, I don't know, I'm going on a bit of a hype because I'm excited to get back to our topic of the week, which is breakups. In part one, we had some wonderful, juicy stories that I shared with you of some, quite frankly, savage people that exist in our communities. I've got some more for you. So should we crack on before we end the show this evening?
I think so.
First story. My ex sent me a text that said, "What if life is a staircase and you are the bottom step and there's someone out there for me that's the top step?" So he was basically confessing to cheating on me without outright saying he cheated on me. So he broke up with me for her. At least karma got him because she said she wasn't interested and stopped talking to him. Imagine your boyfriend, partner, girlfriend, whatever, sends you a text and says,
"What if life is a staircase and you are the bottom step and there's someone out there for me that's the top step?"
I'd say, see ya! Don't take the stairs, take a slide and slide down into the pits of hell. Thank you very much. Next story. We dated exclusively for 3 months. Negative and unhealthy personality traits on both of our parts began to expose themselves about 3 weeks prior to our ending it, and I began to realise it wasn't going to work out. We had a date to go see a show on Valentine's Day. Cool, these are happening around Valentine's Day. It's supposed to be a day of love and peace and harmony and joy, and instead you lot are out there savagely dumping each other. I suggested we meet at the venue in which we were going to see the show, directly in front of the will call window, which is the box office. She loudly proclaimed that she didn't want to even see this show. She was just doing it for me. Then she berated me a bit as an entire line of people watched. I took her ticket, handed it to a stranger, and then went into the venue and enjoyed the show by myself. It was very good. I love that. Just absolutely serving her in front of a crowd. If she's starting to get aggy with you in front of a crowd full of people, she better be prepared for your response. I love that you gave her ticket to a stranger. I love that. That was lovely. I hope you and the stranger had a nice time. That would be a really good rom-com film. This would be at the beginning, and you hand it to a stranger, and that stranger is who you fall in love with, and it's who you're meant to be with, and then you get married, and no! Enjoy a rom-com, especially a 90s American one. If you've actually got any suggestions of ones that I can watch, please send them over what your favourite one is, because I'm all ears. Our relationship has sort of fizzled out, and we were busy with college finals. We hadn't talked in about a week, and he invited me to meet him at this coffee shop, a walking distance from his place. When I got there, the flashing is happening again outside, folks. Anyway, where were we? The relationship had fizzled, they hadn't talked for a week, they met in a coffee shop. Continuing. It turned out... when she got there, he was sitting at the table and had a stack of papers in front of him. It turned out it was a 12-page, single-spaced, double-sided breakup letter that he expected me to read in front of him so he could see my reaction. What in the Ross and Rachel from Friends is going on here?
And you had rambled on for 18 pages. Front and back!
It included, around page 7, a breakdown of every penny he had ever spent on anything related to us. I said I wouldn't read the whole thing there because it felt very manipulative. I got up and left. Yes, we stand for a queen that's not going to be berated.
Don't with me, fellas! This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
It just seems completely unnecessary. If you know you're going to break up with someone, just try and leave as amicably as possible. You know, you don't need to write it all out. And then also every penny, that's so petty.
Petty!
Let's go on to another one, shall we? Shall we? We had been dating for about 7 months and made a reservation at a nice French restaurant for Valentine's Day. You guys! We need to stop breaking up on this day of... Or maybe it's good. Maybe actually people are realising that they deserve more. But it's supposed to be a day of love, not a day of heartache. They went to a nice French restaurant. Anyway, after we ordered dessert, I excused myself and went to the bathroom to see why my phone had been buzzing all night. Turns out my friend found out he had been cheating on me, and they were trying to tell me. What a good friend. I went back to the table and finished dessert, let him pay, and then when we walked outside, I asked him how long he had been cheating on me. He denied it. I told him to go away, and I cried the whole Uber ride home while he pretended not to notice. Oh, God. Oh, it finishes with, I hooked up with his best friend a week later.
Well, props to you.
I think you deserve that completely. That is so... I mean, first of all, great friend. Really good that your friend wanted to warn you. Like that you finished the dessert. Hope it was a good dessert. Like that you made him pay. Awkward that you both got an Uber home. Unless you live together. But it's very awkward. Glad that you got your payback. Love that. Love that bit of pettiness. Last story of part 2. He was my first serious high school boyfriend. Even though we only dated about 8 months, I thought he was the one. Despite his deeply conservative, evangelical background, which was the exact opposite of my liberal-leaning upbringing. He went on some sort of Bible school retreat one weekend in April, and on Monday morning came back acting weird. He took me into an unused practice room in our orchestra. An unused practice room in our orchestra? That doesn't make any sense. Basically, they were in an orchestra and they went in an unused practice room next door to tell me that God came to him and told him that he had to dump me because I was not a true believer.
Deep inhale of breath.
The worst part was that there was a huge window in this practice room that left us totally visible to 20 to 30 orchestra students. Oh, God. Sorry. Blasphemy. I was overwhelmed with embarrassment and ran out of the room crying, slammed the door, caused everyone who wasn't already staring to whip their head round and gawk. It was my first real heartbreak and one of the most painful things to have happened to me at the time. It being so public just added insult to injury. It's definitely the most dramatic breakup I've ever had. Yeah, I mean, it can't really get more dramatic than that. You've got everyone watching, you've got your age, you're very young, you've got God at play here, and you can't really argue with that.
I'm God. Bingo! Yahtzee!
Oh, it's a bit much. Does seem like a cop-out. Even if you are a true believer, it seems like a total cop-out that that's your excuse. But hey, who am I to judge people and their beliefs? That was our last story of the evening on the Word Pony podcast. If you've actually got any breakup stories that you want to share with me, I would thrive from hearing them. Whether they're heartbreak, petty, outrageous, I don't care. I want to hear these stories. Oh, I just love it. I live off of them. But let's bring this week's episode to a close, shall we? Thank you very, very much for joining me this evening on the Word Pony podcast. You can follow us on all social medias at Word Pony Podcast, and you can follow myself at Gracie Megan Clark on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I have a TikTok which I'm still working out. Thank you very much for listening today, and I hope that you have a blessed evening, blessed day, whenever you're listening to this, and stay warm during this bitter winter time. Love you, Mum.